It's the most jaw-dropping secret your parents kept from you. I recently discovered something about my dad that flipped my whole world upside down. Today is the 2-year anniversary of my dad's death. I am staying with my grandparents on my dad's side right now because after my dad's death, my mom started seeing a guy who, in my opinion, clearly prefers my brother. Essentially, mom's new boyfriend, and I can't live in the same house. I love my mom, but I'm old enough now for her to respect my decision to live with my grandparents for the summer. Today was an emotional day, of course. My grandmom is very sentimental, and recently she has been putting together photo albums. One of my dad, one of his brother, one of me, and one of my brother. Today my grandmom and I were looking through my dad's photo album. The bulk of the album consists of photos of him as a kid when he lived with my grandparents, but there are a few more recent photos. One of these recent photos caught my attention. See, I have juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, which gives me these occasional jerks or spasms in my arms and legs. Because of this, I've never been able to go in water, so I never learned to swim. Despite this, we went to the beach a lot as a family since we were California residents. The photo that stood out to me was one of my dad in his 20s, so a bit before I was born. It was of him treading water in the ocean, clearly very deep in. My grandmother told me that his brother took the photo when the two of them and their then girlfriends went cliff diving. I asked her, but Dad couldn't swim? She was confused and said, of course he could. Did you really think he was the kind of person to not know how to swim? I was shocked. For as long as I can remember, on our frequent family visits to the beach, my dad had told me he couldn't swim as he was scared of the water. Each time we'd go, he'd ask if I could keep him company on the beach. This had been great for me, of course, as I didn't want to be alone while my mom and brother went swimming. So in the meantime, we would find other games and things to do while they were in the ocean. To be honest, it had always seemed silly to me that he was scared of water. He was a marathon runner and generally a very sporty person who grew up in California, so I didn't get why he never just learned. But now I realize that of course he could swim. He knew I didn't want to be a liability because of my condition. That if I thought he wanted to go, I would tell him to go without me and leave me behind. So he lied to me and told me he couldn't swim. He didn't think I'd ever find out what a nice thing he was doing for me, and yet he still did it every time. Especially today, that sent me over the edge. Thank you, Dad.